as you know, the past few weeks and months have been about upheaval, right? Everybody has had to come face to face with their own pussy wounds and start to cleanse. I had a rather lovely reading today where an older woman on the other side said that she had her brother in this lifetime harping on at her about forgiveness, and that even he didn't quite understand forgiveness, but she's been there long enough now, she's still in the room, and she described forgiveness on the other side as like this pink, cloudy energy. Okay, whoever it is, turn your system on mute, please. This sort of pink, cloudy energy that her energy system was reaching for, aspiring towards. And, okay, I can still hear somebody typing or something. Just check that all of you are on mute, so I'm not bouncing back on myself. And her, as she heals on the other side, as she comes to terms with herself and as she moves through the memories of her life and she finds herself becoming more and more accepting of who she was, her energy and this pink candy floss kind of energy is merging. And from where she is, she has the feeling, the knowing, that as she moves into that, it gets deeper. So she's expecting it to be a deeper pink, if you will. So even as she was talking, I was like going, how does that one work? You know? And of course, my guides were saying, the understanding or the expectation that forgiveness would feel that way. That's what it would feel like for her. So for yourself, what do you think forgiveness feels like? What do you know it feels like? And if you pictured it, how would it look? Because the belief systems, the notions that you have on this side move forward with you into the afterlife. So I thought, oh well, you know, for me forgiveness feels like a big hug from Paddy. Really. Because she's like the most forgiving being I know. And she cuddles up and she wags her tail and she lets you know that everything's okay. So my guys went, oh, then you're constantly merging with a big black dog. It's like, that's just the way it is. And it was interesting for me because I very rarely live my daily life with an understanding that I'm preparing for my life. I live my daily life as if I'm living this moment now, and I get distracted. I don't consciously think of myself as a soul preparing for soul life. I think of myself as a soul living this life fully, and then when I stop and I say, why am I doing that? Then it's, oh, I'm living it fully because the rest of my life merges with this energy, is fed by this energy, is informed by this energy. Who I am in my soul life, without personality and without ego, is informed by who I am in this lifetime. So doing the forgiving and the dancing with grace and the living abundance, all of those things here are uplifting my soul self. And of course that led to the next part of the conversation with, so why am I so easily distracted? And being human isn't a good enough rationalization on that one. Because really, we're all human, we're all easily distracted, and I feel like I should know better. Which led to the next part of the conversation, which is, hold on a second, why should you know better? As part of your development and your growth and your becoming, the knowing better will become you being better at what you know. And of course I'm better now than I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. In the midst of this whole thing, my guides went click, 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 here goes today's meditation. And I thought, okay, what are we meditating on? And they said all of those annoying, irritating things about you, and you, and you, and you, and you, that actually get in the way of you feeling fulfilled, feeling grace, feeling joyful, and coming here with your joy every Thursday. So I want you to just take a moment and think about all of those behaviors, and we wouldn't quite call them toxic or shadow self behaviors, But we'd call them those little pebbles that make the connection between you and other people more difficult, that congest the line of communication and the line of connectedness between you and others. Like that, for example. You know, Patty all scratchy, her ears, her chin, everything, total disregard for the fact that Granny is talking, because my rules don't matter in the least. And it just clogs the connection between us. And yet I have rules, right? We all have rules. We all have the way we want things to be. We all have the way we think things should be. And I think my biggest learning curve in the past 2 weeks is that I designed the ISIS mosaic and then I opened it up to everybody. And I still can't resist going around and correcting everybody because really, I have a picture in my head and I want it to look like that picture. I don't want it to just evolve into just about anything. So I designed it and I've given everybody the pattern and I've said that's how you'll do it. And I'm checking that they do it that way under the guise of teaching and making sure that they're learning in the process. But the fact is that I have this picture in my head and I want the reality to match, which is all just very controlling of me. I'm a designing woman, you see. But we all have these self-justifications and rationalizations that perpetuate these annoying little behaviors that get in the way of true intimacy, open communication. And they're part of our defense mechanism. It's like we throw pebbles in our wake and we expect everybody to hot-foot it across those pebbles, barefoot, in order to reach us. And that's literally the picture I have of people in my life. I assume an authority that may or may not be present, just because of who I think I am. Don't be so hard on me. Thank you. So, everybody has these annoying habits. We have standards that we impose on others. Right? We look at other people's homes and go, oh, I'll never do that in my house. We look at other people's cars and we think, oh, that needs to go to the car wash. And in our heads, there is a constant conversation that separates us, and this is the heart of the matter, that separates us from each other more so than our skins. And in oneness consciousness, we cannot afford this egocentric separation. Not if we're going to embrace the candy floss wholeheartedly. So, what are those behaviors? Think about them. On that side, our side, what are those behaviors? Give me some examples. Come on, Gitanjali. OCD. OCD people have a lot of those. Yeah.
Well, for the 16 time actually becomes more of that with my behavior. Certain things to be done in a certain way.
And if it's not done that way, then it's not right. It's not good enough. It's not simple thing, okay. And yet almost everything in our lives is okay, right? The roof over your head, okay. Every breath you take, okay. The fact is that we're accustomed to complaining about the things that are not okay, because we have this litany in our heads about specific standards. I mean, my maid has the awful habit of putting blue, green, yellow, pink, peach towels in the black and white bathroom. And I bought white towels for the black and white bathroom. I've given up now. Now I'm just pleased that there's a clean, dry towel in the black and white bathroom. Yeah. And I say things like, how is it other people's houses always look so neat and my house looks like the house of Mr. Bismarck? It's because literally there is a filter through which we see the world called perception. And it undermines our full experience of it. And yet when I've thrown myself into things, just like plunged right in and lived it fully without that filter, it's usually been the best thing ever, the greatest blessing ever, the most meaningful escapade and adventure ever. So what's going on in your head? Go on. Let's hear it. The silliest of things. Really. And you don't know how stupid and silly they are until you say them out loud. Because they have this huge importance inside of you. Right? They must have that importance if you're using them every day, everywhere in your life. But these are silly little things. What do they call it? The small stuff. Sweating the small stuff. And then the flip side of that is that love is in the details. You just have to be clear about which details you're focusing in on. And whether, of course, those details are brotherhood, consciousness, awareness, love-based, or whether they're control-based. So which details are you tuning into? And don't say, I love my mosaic and I want it to look beautiful, etc., because that was control. That wasn't love. That was control. So, I still don't have any examples. Tough? Examples of these tedious little behaviors that get in the way of you having meaningful, open intimacy with others. Everybody's smiling to themselves.
Being too judgmental?
That's a big one. That's a big one. The being judgmental, the being unforgiving, the being in road rage. Those are the big things. I'm talking about the little things, where we do them in our heads as insidious patterns, little streaks of poison, little chemical reactions that actually undermine your joy. Now imagine for a moment that the essentials of you is that you are joyful and beautiful, right? And then this insidious way of thinking, because that's just the way it's always been, is dripping, literally dripping into your system. Just drip by drip by drip. Until an entire tower of frozen, rigid thinking is created. What do they call that in caves? Yeah, stalactites and stalagmites. And what happens eventually? We have to go around it. We have to negotiate our way around it. And it gets bigger and bigger until it blocks out the light to the cave, until it blocks out the flow. And that's literally what we're doing. I mean, being judgmental is a huge big thing that started as a stupid little thing. When you said my shoes are too tight as a 2-year-old. Yeah? Okay. Does everybody else get that? Taking everything twice. Perfectionism, okay. Needs to be important. These are all big things. Criteria. Being judgmental is egocentric behavior across the scale of humanity. So that's a big thing, right? And we learn that. We learn that from the time we are little because we're taught to take a good look at everything, and we aren't taught the difference between being discerning and being judgmental. So we're not taught how to look at something and clarify for ourselves our preference for it, our connectedness with it, our feeling around it. We're taught to look at it from the outside in terms of what other people are doing, what other people are saying, what their opinion of it is, and therefore judge it and speculate about it and even compete with it before we make a conscious choice for self, based on that external gain as opposed to an intuitive internal feeling. So the difference between discernment and judgment becomes clear. And that's, of course, how we create prejudices, which, in fact, discrimination, which are, in fact, insidious little things that go on inside of us. So here's an example. If you're scrolling down Facebook and there are at least 30 things that say, like and share if you support this. There are some people who share all the animal stuff, like me. There's some people who share all the cancer stuff. And just by looking at people's Facebook profiles, you can get an understanding of where their prejudices lie, what their primary interests are. My page is full of good news stuff. It's always got good news. And then horrendous news. Talk about extremes. And I don't have people who talk politics on my page. So there's a profile that comes through in terms of what people automatically dismiss and what they make available through themselves to the rest of the world. And that's the system living inside of you that you may or may not be aware of using in your daily world. What are the insidious thoughts inside of you that are dismissing, hindering, getting in the way of the full experience of true intimacy with yourself and others? And there are lots of reasons why we're asking this question today. One of them is that it influences the way you bring your intuition into play. It influences whether or not you can trust your intuition and how you interpret what is given by your intuition and the level to which you utilize that intuition in integrity with yourself and, more importantly, with spirit. The other reason we're raising this issue is because it creates separation between you and others, and that separateness is something that your physical body identifies with. And in identifying with that separation or separateness, your physical body falls into a space where it is willing to create dis-ease, discomfort, and distress for itself because of that feeling of separation from the mass consciousness and therefore source, God self. It cannot believe it is soul because it is experiencing separation at a mental and intuitive level. Is that serious enough? Is that important enough? Is that explanation perfect enough? Should we check that one twice? And then, of course, the third reason for that is because everybody in the room, including me, has their own system of defensive communication. And we've been talking about defensive communication for months. It's an innate system that we use to keep things where we can see them, where we can manage them. We put boundaries on ourselves to manage other people as opposed to managing ourselves. And so defensive communication is one of the boundaries that we've put in place to manage other people and our interaction with them. Hence the pebbles that we throw for them to hot-foot it across barefoot. So you have to think now, do you really want to be that unapproachable in the world? Do you really want the people you live with, the people you love, the people you supposedly trust, to have to work so hard at being close to you? And mostly it's the small stuff that nobody really talks about. And if you're anything like the women in this center, if somebody did talk about it, you'd say, what do you mean? Substantiate. And they'd go, well, you know, you do that thing all the time. And then you'd go, no, I don't know. Where's evidence for that? We're all very good at evidence around here. And of course, everybody has recurring and replicating patterns of behavior that piss them off completely. But they love you enough to stick around and deal with it. It's up to you to change it as a self-managing, self-disciplining, self-mastering entity. It's up to you to change it. More importantly, as an evolving entity, it's up to you to master it. So what are those niggling things that annoys everybody else, but they can't quite pin you down on it? Because you've mastered the art of masquerading it as something else. And really, all of the egos in the room know how to do that. We all know how to do that. We know this for certain. It's called being human. It's called being in the game. Well, I know a man who, the minute something goes wrong, he gets all het up about it. You know, the temper explodes, and that's his way of taking control of the situation and everybody in it. Because nobody is stopping to say, I'm sorry, can you go throw your tantrum over there? And when you finish throwing your tantrum, go deal with the crisis, because it's actually not my crisis. You created the problem. Be part of the solution now. Don't create another problem, so we have to deal with you and the problem. Nobody says that stuff. We just go, oh, him again. Right? And yet it's a control mechanism. It's an absolute control mechanism. We all have them. Take my word for it, really. I know. I see them every day. I have clients who sit here and go, oh, I'm so glad I finally got to see you because, you know, and they launch into their story. They have a whole story. And I listen to part of the story, and the first 3 sentences is enough to tell me, you're going to so lead me off track if I let you keep talking. So I have to say, okay, you be quiet now. Let me do the talking. And it's always the clients who are most likely to say, oh, that girl had nothing interesting to say. I'm happy to leave the room. I say, you keep talking. Let me know when you're done. I'll come back. It's your time. Because everybody has their story. And part of this insidious game that's going on inside of you is your story. And your story determines how you meet other people. Whether you're meeting them from your story, whether you're meeting them from their story, how are you meeting them? What's going on inside? Tiny little behaviors that just annoy everybody. Quincy never closes taps fully. Ever. Why? And it's a simple thing. In her house, it takes a long time for the water pressure. So she has to turn the tap a lot before the water comes out. So she never closes the tap fully. Yeah? She figures she saves herself some time and effort. And it's little things. And I say, why don't you close the tap properly? Because it's dripping. Oh, you know, Mom, I forget that here the taps work properly. It's such a habit for her that in new circumstances, different taps altogether, the same behavior applies because a tap is a tap is a tap, and that's the story associated with the tap. My hairdresser tells me every time I need a haircut because she's not the woman who cuts my hair. It doesn't matter whether I need a haircut or not. She says it because she knows she's not the woman who cuts my hair. And it's her way of validating herself as being able to cut my hair. And she probably, well, from some of her other clients, she does that with her other clients. She validates herself in the process. And I don't have any objection to it, except that I really don't need a haircut. No. So this is a lie that makes herself feel better. One of my other friends has a habit of saying things as if I would know that. And I go, how would I know that? And of course I get the classic line, because you're psychic. And I'm going, yeah, but I'm also human. I'm also stupid a lot of the time. You actually have to say things to me. Oh, I thought you'd get that just by tuning in. And I have somebody else who says, how are all your patients? And I go, they're not patients, they're clients. Yeah, and he calls them patients. And he knows it irritates me. But he does it because it irritates me. So that's also an insidious pattern, where you know that something you're doing is going to drive that person balmy. And you do it because it gives you the upper hand. Because it increases your perceived power in the relating. So how many behaviors have you managed to identify within yourself now? What about the man who always has to fill the gap in the traffic? It doesn't matter that he's in the right lane for turning eventually, but he's actually cruising nicely here, but there's a gap, so he has to fill the gap. He just has to go there. And you're going, why? Why? But must do that. Even if it's unnecessary or endangers people around it, like the city taxis. It just is. And this, of course, should tell you something about my brain, that I observe all of this going on around me, and I'm going, why do you do that? It's so unnecessary. Why? Why isn't this obvious to you? And all of you have this complaint, why isn't something that's obvious to me, Not obvious to the rest of the world. When are they all going to catch up? Because it's obvious to you. Yeah. How are we doing so far, people? Okay, I hope you have a list inside of yourself. Who is sticking their tongue out at me via Skype? I think it's Ambalika. This is cheeky, man. Okay. So, everybody, take a deep breath in. So a nice deep breath in. And let's get grounded. Let's get completely grounded. Because tonight's meditation is about establishing your connectedness with the earth as you walk upon it, and your connectedness with the heavens as you walk upon the earth. So get as grounded as possible. Make sure that you put down nice deep roots so that you feel the support of the earth and acknowledge it. And as you're getting grounded, remind yourself, bring into your consciousness the understanding, I chose, I choose to be here now. I chose to incarnate into this body. I chose to experience my humanity and the humanity of other beings. I chose to extend myself onto the earth plane. I am now willing to receive the support of the earth plane and to fulfill my responsibility to it fully. Make a commitment to being fully present on earth as you are in heaven. And when you have gotten grounded completely, start to align all of your chakras with the Earth Star Chakra. So moving gently up from the Earth Star Chakra to the base, into the sacral, into the solar plexus, making sure that all of the human chakras are fully aligned, open, active. Gently breathing through any sensations of pain or congestion. And setting a clear intention that any chakra that is out of balance or distorted or excessively bloated should fall into alignment for this moment, here and now. And just breathe gently and let the earth energy flow upward into all of the human chakras, filling your body with the sense of being present, walking your path consciously, living consciously. And feel your lower body relax, to settle more definitely into the chair, and release all of the tension, and just be present. And then let's move the energy up into your heart center, making sure that it is open and aligned and active and fully present. And let the earth energy swirl through it, bringing you into a space of compassion, loving kindness, generosity of spirit for the earth herself. And then let's draw that same earth energy upward into the throat chakra, to the third eye, and the crown, bringing them all into alignment with the lower chakras through the heart center. You may feel your crown chakra opening, or your back of your third eye opening, as your body responds as always to the golden lotus effect or the halo effect. And from there, let's take the earth energy further up into the higher chakras above your crown, all the way up to the mastery of self chakra, which is the 12th chakra. When we use the earth star chakra as our beginning, the crown chakra becomes the 8th chakra, so very gently pull the earth energy upward into chakras 9, 10, 11, and 12. These are all of the chakras of the outermost auric fields, connecting your human incarnation to your soul self, to your higher self. This is a good time to invite your higher self to be fully present and to inform the shift in vibration available to you during this meditation. And just for a moment, breathing gently, I want you to consciously imagine this earth energy flowing through you, flowing through all of your chakras. Feel it, the richness of the soil, the fire and air of the earth itself, the willingness to grow things, to nurture things, the willingness to live in cycles and seasons. Let all of that energy, all of those attributes flow through all of your chakras, stimulating all of your memories of being present and human in this lifetime and other lifetimes, pagan lifetimes, shaman lifetimes, Native American lifetimes, Mayan and Incan and Aztec lifetimes, Indian and Egyptian lifetimes, Spanish lifetimes, Celtic lifetimes, Romanian lifetimes, Pygmy lifetimes, and even Mesopotamian lifetimes. Lifetimes of living by the cycles of the earth and the moon, and the sun, and the stars. Lifetimes of living instinctively, naturally. Let your body feel its connectedness to the earth across aeons of time and space. Let it feel its belonging on the earth plane, exactly as I, the soul, belongs on the spirit plane. That this too is home. That here I am present within a soul community, the same community with whom I travel lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, establishing my connectedness and my belonging, my togetherness and my sharing, my oneness whether I am of the body or beyond the body. And when the earth's energy has filled you completely, and you slowly move into a space of quiet peace, with being at one with the earth, at one with being human, and doing human, and thinking human, and feeling human. Take a moment to feel all of your vulnerabilities at being human. The innate vulnerability of being here in a body, of facing the unknown, of facing uncertainty, of dealing with egocentric games, of competition and comparison, of dealing with egocentric games, of opinion and perception and distortion, of dealing with the fluctuations of the human temperament and the imbalances of the chemical factory within the human body. Allow all of these vulnerabilities over which you have no control to become established as fact. Being human equals being vulnerable. And it's okay. But it is a sore point. And from the sore point of feeling separate and feeling vulnerable, we create boundaries, defense mechanisms, protective mechanisms to shield ourselves from others, to protect ourselves even from ourselves. So all inside of you, where the earth energy is flowing nicely, and it is a combination of all of the elements available on earth and from within the earth herself. Take a good look. Are there any chakras that feel or seem congested? Any sensation of heaviness all the way from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Are there spaces of pain, spaces of lethargy, feeling of stuckness or stagnation? The feeling of getting in your own way. Any known dis-ease or distress of the physical body that requires intervention, homeopathic or otherwise, healing in other words. Take stock. All of this comes from somewhere, and it is going nowhere. It remains in your physical body, hindering your experience of yourself and others. You will leave it behind when you die, here, in your physical body. What you will take is the experience and the memories attached to that experience as they are presented in your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. You will leave the physical pain, the irritation, the anger, and the fear behind. But you will take with you the memory of how you created your own obstacles, limitations, and control mechanisms. You will take with you all of the memories of you stepping between yourself and grace, yourself and joy, yourself and true communion with all that is. So there, where the earth energy is flowing peacefully through you, being completely healing and supportive. Imagine for a moment that all of those points of pain and distress are little pebbles, little bits and pieces of gravel, sharp bits of glass, dust mites, little worms, all of those tiny little things that the eye cannot clearly discern until it is unfolding, happening, being experienced. All of those tiny little things that flow as reaction and negate your ability to respond accountably to the world. All the wormy, niggly bits of you that you don't think about when you go about the big business of living. Little things like stirring the sugar in a clockwise direction only. Little things like the car must always be parked facing forward because I don't want to reverse out the driveway later. Little things. little things like listening while talking to yourself in your head, formulating a reply even as the conversation unfolds. Little things. All the tiny complaints that you have about others, while being oblivious to the complaints they have about you. The little things that are justified by being right. The little things that make you right. The little things that are preceded by the words, you always. The accusations we hurl at the world, forgetting that they boomerang back into our own energy system. The little criteria by which you expect the world to live, the little terms, mores and morals, elements of so-called consciousness that we extend into the world with the expectation, the belief, the understanding that it will respond or react appropriately. The little clock by which you run your life, and the expectation that everything and everyone else will keep pace. The likes and dislikes, the preferences that keep you separate from others, poison your capacity for joy. All of the ways in which your thinking deactivates the essence of you, the essence of your life self, the essence of this incarnated source being, as joy, as grace, as love. See them all in your energy system. The tiny pebbles, the tiny worms, the unhelpful, harmful bacteria sliding around in your energy system, congesting the petals of your chakras, hindering their movement and their transmission of energy in sending and receiving to and from the universe, to and from every soul you interact with daily. And all of the sore spots, all of the holes being burned into your auric field that come up as insecurities, a dislike of self or self-loathing, a disharmony with self, and an unwillingness to accept self as I am. All of the thoughts, programmed patterns of thinking, and conditioned behaviors that turn you against yourself and turn you against all others. The self-sabotaging behaviors that congest your connectedness with all that is. Feel them. Feel them in your energy field. Feel their burdensomeness. Feel how they rob you of your vitality, how they break the lines of your electromagnetic field and lower your vibration. See how they distract and entertain you and give you the temporary relief of feeling safe, while expanding your fear and feeling of being unsafe, while setting rigidity into your system and creating higher and higher levels of lethargy. And very gently, breath by breath, start bringing them all together. Pull them down in your mind's eye from the top of your head all the way down into your solar plexus. Bring it all the way down to the center of your rib cage, to the golden yellow chakra. And pull it all the way up from the base chakra, where all of the silly hang-ups about sex and money and power and other people and identity and the neighbors. Just pull it all the way up. And there in your sacral chakra, all of the niggly bits about your creativity or lack of creativity, or somebody else's lack of creativity and unwillingness to be responsible and accountable for themselves. All of the whiny voice, pull it all up into the solar plexus. Pull it all up into the chakra of self-respect and authentic power. Pull it all up into the chakra that's directly connected with your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind. Pull it all up into the chakra of survival instinct. Whatever the reason, whatever the rationalization or justification for the insidious thinking and hindering self-sabotaging patterns, we don't care. We're not attached. Just pull it all up into your solar plexus and throw it all together into the bright yellow chakra. This is the chakra where fear resides. This is the chakra that reminds you that you can't, that every mistake you have ever made can and will be held against you in every new experience. So dump them all together. Every behavior you have ever used to separate yourself from others and to maintain your perceived security in relating with others and to protect your vulnerability, bring it here. Throw it into the cauldron of your solar plexus. As if you are throwing it all into the sun. Solar plexus is also the chakra of your projected identity. So bring all of your ego gains here. And when the solar plexus is full, and all of the worms and pebbles and harmful bacteria and nonsensical thinking and unnecessary irrelevant patterns of behavior have been coalesced and consolidated here, just take a deep breath in and rest for a moment. Just rest. Let everything just settle. Feel all of the burdens of your physical body now consolidated in your solar plexus. I'm now going to count to 9. Breath by breath, I want you to allow your solar plexus to grow bigger. Breath by breath, I want you to allow it to grow bolder. To let all of the cellular memory, all of the old experiences, all of the past behaviors, and all of the past life information that sits in your subconscious and unconscious mind to simply come into your solar plexus, breath by breath. And in your mind's eye, I want you to see it growing bigger, getting more and more bloated and fuller. 1. Just breathe gently and let your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind and your cellular memory feed into your solar plexus. All of those behaviors, insidious little patterns that poison your relationship with yourself and others. 2. Just breathing gently and getting more relaxed and calmer. 3. Breath by breath. 4. Bigger and bigger. Even heavier and heavier. 5. 6. Still breathing gently. Allow any sensation of discomfort in your solar plexus to just be. 7. 8. Allow any churning, any upheaval to just be. And 8 again. And one more time, just for luck. 8. Nice deep breath in as we move into 9. Just breathing gently. Rest. Let your solar plexus in its enlarged, engorged state just be still for a moment. And on a deep breath in, I want you in your mind's eye to imagine your solar plexus literally exploding. Feel your solar plexus have an entire volcanic episode, erupting, lava everywhere, fire energy sparking into the universe as everything that you've ever held inside of you is expelled. And if you didn't have the volcano effect, and you couldn't simply surrender it to the universe, let's take a deep breath in, and in your mind's eye, imagine yourself picking up this ball of energy. It is heavy and full and burdensome. And see yourself putting it at the top of a hill and letting it roll all the way down into the ocean. Carry it. Be burdened by it. Do the hard work of placing it at the top of the cliff, top of the hill, top of the mountain, and then pushing it, dislodging it, that you may watch it roll down the other side, or plunge overboard into the ocean. It's not light enough to be buoyant. Watch it sink. Watch it disappear. And if you still haven't gotten rid of it, in your mind's eye, see yourself going into a lavatory. Put your ball of energy inside the loo and hit the flush button. A full flush, please. And watch it disappear. And for those of you who have still not let it go, hold on to it. Claim it. It is yours. And when you are ready, let it explode. Let it fly off a cliff. Fill it with helium. Send it into the heavens. Flush it down the toilet. Toss it in a fire. However you choose to let it go then, you will. But for now, claim ownership of it. Let it be yours. Do not be in denial of it. For everybody else, take a deep breath in, and as you are seated in your chairs, fully relaxed, in your mind's eye, imagine that you are standing in your own shower at home, and that you have the gentle, pleasing, soothing energy of water flowing all over you, from above the top of your head, all the way down into your energy field, gently washing all of the earth energy downward back into the ground. Just very gently resuscitating all of your own water energy, hydrating your energy field, bringing new levels of life force to all 308 chakras. And as the water flows all the way from the top of your head, through your solar plexus into the ground, you may feel any tightness in your chest or solar plexus easing. You may feel your intestines untangling. You may feel that the peristaltic motion is easier, calmer, quieter. You will know that this meditation has served you well by shifts in your digestive system, including your new, improved appetite for life. And when all of the earth energy has washed through you, all the way back into the ground, ground yourself once more, and bring yourself back to the present moment, here and now.